You've seen him take on Nazis and save the galaxy multiple times. Now it's time to witness action star Harrison Ford milking a cow? Well, it's time to head back to the 80s and down to the farm on this installment of Old, New, and Now Playing. Hello and welcome to Old, New, and Now Playing, your time machine through the world of movies. I'm your host, Will Robinson Smith, and thank you so much for joining me on this very first old segment in the series. And seeing as today is Memorial Day, I want to extend a very special thank you to all of our servicemen and women out there, all of the veterans, and of course I want to say thank you to those who have given their lives in service of this country. So for all those who have served or are currently serving, thank you very much. Now, here on Old, New, and Now Playing, no matter what period of time we're talking about, we like to keep things rooted in the now with our first segment, The Rundown.
Don't say it! Don't you say it!
He left.
Come on!
With it being Monday, let's take a look back at this weekend's box office. And I know, of course, it is a holiday weekend, but considering that today's numbers are still rolling in, we'll just take a look at the regular 3-day weekend. Coming in at number 1 with $65 million is the latest film in the X-Men franchise, X-Men Apocalypse. Coming in at a distant second is Alice Through the Looking Glass with about $27 million. Angry Birds have a 50% drop-off from week 1 to week 2, netting about $19 million. And rounding out the top 5 are Captain America Civil War with about $15 million, and Neighbors 2 Sorority Rising with about $9 million. According to Box Office Mojo, Apocalypse comes in about $25 million less than its predecessor, X-Men Days of Future Past, which came out about the same time last year. Currently, the film sits with a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, but personally, I really enjoyed the film, and if you want to see more about my thoughts on the movie, you can check out my review right here. Looking at another part of the box office, Disney execs have to be disappointed by the low return on Alice Through the Looking Glass. It's the sequel to 2010's Alice in Wonderland, which despite mixed reviews, pulled in $116 million in its opening weekend. I haven't had the chance to see the film myself, but just because of a lot of the negative reactions it's been getting, and the trailer honestly didn't look great to me, I think I'll probably just end up skipping it and saving my money for something else. But as far as Disney's concerned, they really can't be too terribly disappointed in how this year is looking for them. I mean, they are just about to pass the $4 billion mark at this point with films like Captain America Civil War and The Jungle Book and Zootopia, so they're doing alright. I don't feel too bad for them. And I think, though, that they're probably done with a live adaptation of the Alice franchise. I think that one's been put to bed, and they'll focus more on other live adaptations of their animated properties, like Beauty and the Beast, which just dropped a teaser trailer last week. Next, known for his mastery of social media, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson took to his Instagram feed this morning to post this image, saying that he is officially playing Clark Doc Savage. The Man of Bronze is a character from the pulp magazines that enjoyed its principal run in the 1930s and 40s, predating Superman. Trained at birth to become the pinnacle of humanity, Doc Savage is incredibly intelligent and has a superhuman level of strength and senses. However, he is somewhat socially inept and a bit awkward. In his Instagram post, Johnson says it's the latter part of the character that attracted him to the project, saying, "After speaking for hours with Shane Black, I can see why the creator of Superman took only the best parts of Doc Savage and leaving the weirdo part behind. But to us, it's that weirdo part that makes Clark Doc Savage dope. Can't wait to sink my teeth into this one-of-a-kind character." Warner Brothers did the first film adaptation of this property back in 1975, with Ron Ely starring and Michael Anderson directing. This time around, writer-director Shane Black, known for Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3, and the newly released The Nice Guys, is helming the project. Black announced back in 2013 that he would be directing the film for Sony Pictures with no release date specified. Not being terribly familiar with the character, I had to do a bit of research this morning just to get a sense of who he was, and, it could be an interesting project, pretty close to Superman, so we're gonna have to see if the audience is willing to accept something that similar to a very well-established character, but certainly once we get some images from the project, or a teaser trailer no less, I think we'll get a better idea, but, considering the walking ball of charisma that is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I think it's gonna be interesting and exciting to see him embrace his inner weirdo and what he brings to that project, so it's something I'm looking forward to. I like Shane Black as a director, and so I think that's going to be a really fun collaboration once it gets off the ground. And finally in the rundown, another name is set to depart from the James Bond franchise. This time, it's director Sam Mendes. According to the Associated Press, the director of Skyfall and Spectre made the announcement on Saturday to an audience at the Hay Festival of Literature in Wales. Mendes said, "It was an incredible adventure. I loved every second of it, but I think it's time for somebody else." He went on to say, "I'm a storyteller, and at the end of the day, I want to make stories with new characters." Meanwhile, rumors have been circulating for some time now that Bond himself, Daniel Craig, will step down from the role after 4 films, and speculation has been rampant about who will replace him. Names like Idris Elba and Tom Hiddleston have been floated around among others, but Mendes says at the end of the day, it's not up to the fans, adding, "It's not a democracy. Barbara Broccoli, the series producer, decides who is going to be the next Bond. End of story." And now that you're all caught up, it's time for our main segment, your feature presentation. Witness is a 1985 Academy Award-winning film which won for Best Screenplay and Film Editing. The movie also received 6 other nominations that year, including Best Picture and Best Director. At a time when the world was embracing Harrison Ford as an action movie star, having completed the Star Wars trilogy 2 years prior.
Who is this? What's your operating number?
Boring conversation anyway. Look, we're gonna have company!
And donning the fedora for a second time in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom the following year.
Molaram, prepare to meet Kali in hell.
Witness offered a different side of Ford's acting prowess, which netted him his first and only Oscar nomination for Best Actor. Unfortunately for him, he lost to William Hurt that year for his role in Kiss of the Spider-Woman. But coming back to the movie at hand, Witness is a slow burn drama set in 1984 Pennsylvania. On a rare trip from Amish country to visit Philadelphia, Samuel, played by a young Lucas Haas, witnesses a brutal murder at the hands of Danny Glover's character, McPhee. Ford, playing Sergeant John Book, works to protect Samuel and his mother, Rachel, played by Kelly McGillis, as he tries to solve the murder. Dire circumstances forced Book to hide with Rachel and Samuel among the Amish as he continues to seek justice. Overall, I thought this was a good movie with, of course, some ups and downs, but I thought it was a well-directed film by Peter Weir. And while Harrison Ford, of course, was the big-name draw of the feature, I thought that much of the heart of the film lies with Rachel and Samuel. Having spent the vast majority of their lives in an Amish-exclusive world, they are largely sheltered from the outside world and are blindsided by being dragged into a murder investigation. Child actors are always interesting to watch, especially when they're featured so heavily in a movie like this, and I thought Haas, who plays Samuel in the film, did a fine job and, unlike some other child actors, didn't appear to exceed the age in which he was trying to portray in the film, which was a really nice touch. McGillis' character Rachel was one that I wasn't quite certain about early on in the film, but as the movie went on, and certainly when the movie returned to the Amish country, I thought that she exuded a really nice grace and charm and kind of an out-of-time innocence about her that really was important to making the character work. One of the things that may escape you if you just watch the trailer is that this movie is far more than just a high-stakes cop movie. A good 65% or more of the film takes place within the Amish community, and it's in that world that you really see the meat of the culture clash occur, with Rachel dealing not only with the fallout of the crime that her son has become tangled up in, but also struggles with her attraction to Harrison Ford's John Book and the implications of such a potential relationship. On the flip side, this is where we see a more dynamic side of Ford. There are certainly a few moments that feel like the suave scoundrel of Han Solo, but because much of the film is a more quiet movie, there is time to see how Book evolves the longer he is exposed to the Amish culture.
Oh, hey, I got it. I got it. Think.
And while, like I said, this did get Ford his first Best Actor Oscar nomination, when watching the film today, I didn't think it quite was such a magnificent performance that it would have gotten him in the top 5 best actors of that year, but, considering the period in which this movie was made and what audiences of that time would have thought of Harrison Ford, this certainly was a departure for him and showed a more quiet side of his acting persona. The film definitely earned its Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay, as the dialogue between characters is quite compelling, as seen, for example, when Rachel's father Eli discusses violence with Samuel.
Would you kill another man?
I would only kill a bad man.
Only the bad man, I see. And you know these bad men by sight? You are able to look into their hearts and see this badness?
I can see what they do. I have seen it.
And having seen, you become one of them. Don't you understand?
The movie is directed by Australian director Peter Weir, who received a Best Director nomination not only for this movie, but also for Dead Poets Society, The Truman Show, and Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World. Overall, I thought Weir did a nice job of pacing the movie, and while I understand that some of the scenes were, stretched out to feel more like the pace of life for the Amish folk, a little bit slower course of action, I thought that his use of long pauses got to be a bit much at certain points of the film, so I would have dialed some of those back a little bit, but generally speaking, I kind of understand what he was going for. The other thing that I thought could have been done a little bit differently and a little bit better was the handling of the antagonist of the film, and that's Danny Glover's McPhee. He was set up very mysteriously at the beginning of the movie, but I felt like there wasn't much follow-through in his character development. We do get an explanation for his motive for the murder at the beginning of the movie, but it's kind of left at that, so I wish they had done a bit more with him. Other than that, I thought it was a fine film. It was a blend of crime and country. It had good characters, moments of fun, moments of intrigue, and moments of tension. And I would give it 8.5 stars out of 10 and certainly recommend streaming it while it's on Netflix. And guys, that will do it for this episode of Old, New, and Now Playing. What did you think of Witness? If you saw it already or if you're going to see it after you do, comment below. Let me know what you thought about it. Let's start a conversation. And of course, if you ever want to have a question featured on future episodes of Old, New, and Now Playing, you can always tweet at me. My handle is @W_Robinson_Smith. Just use the hashtag #PopTweets so I know it's a question you want to have potentially featured on this show. And if you like this episode, please like it, give me a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to the channel, of course, and then you can always know when new episodes are going to be posted, which are going to be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Coming up this week on Wednesday, I will be reviewing the Jim Carrey classic, The Truman Show, and on Friday, I will have my review on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows. Thank you guys for watching, and again, thank you to all the servicemen and women out there, all of the veterans, and a thank you to all those who have died serving our country. Happy Memorial Day. I'll see you next time.